So do you think that AI actually gives smaller companies a leg up over these large companies because they can move quick?
Um, I think that moving faster in small companies is depends on many factors. I can We can cover them. AI is only, or leveraging AI is only a mean how to implement that.
Welcome to Embracing Digital Transformation, where we investigate effective change leveraging people, process, and technology. This is Darren Pulsford, Chief Solution Architect, author, and most importantly, your host. On this episode, Climbing Mountains and Markets, how startups win with AI, with Everest Conqueror and COO of Iola, Alon Peleg. Alon, welcome to the show.
Good morning. I'm so excited to meet you.
Yeah, we talked. What was it last week at first to see how things, see if it was a fit. And I'm very interested in what you have to bring to the table about digital transformation and being a small company competing with the big boys. This would be very exciting to talk about. Before we drop into that, Alon, on my show, I only interview superheroes. And every superhero has a background story or an origin story. So, Alon, what's your origin story?
So 2 weeks ago, I climbed the Everest. How is that?
That's pretty good. You really did climb Everest 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I came back 2 weeks ago after 3 weeks of climbing in the Nepal mountains, and it was a dream that came true. And
That's amazing.
that's amazing. And this is me, meaning I'm always looking for uh, things to do different and higher challenges. Now it will be difficult to find a higher challenge, but
Yeah,
uh,
not higher, but maybe bigger.
bigger. Exactly. Exactly.
So, how I got to ask you, how long were you there? How long did it take to do the climb? All that stuff. I've got to ask.
So we started the 6 people, and we ended only me and the two other ladies. So it was not easy. I practiced for this about a year, and total it was 3 weeks climb. It was although it's spring, and the weather was stormy, a lot of storms and the snow. I didn't see so much snow coming from the Middle East to Nepal. I never expected to see so much snow. It's a lot of challenges. It's physical challenge, mental challenge. Um, for 3 weeks not to take a shower, it's a big challenge.
Yeah, yeah, that would be really hard for me.
Yeah. So yeah, it's. I'm really glad that I succeeded, and I missed home, and I missed the team here in Iola.
Well, you know what? Congratulations. That's incredible. I bet just it's probably not the views on Everest as much as it is I made it, right?
I made it. I'm a photographer, so also first of all, I took with me two heavy cameras. And I took wonderful pictures that I will take with me forever.
That is awesome. You'll have to send me the pictures. We'll put them
I
up
will.
on our website.
Okay.
That's really awesome. That is really really cool. All right. So before you were an Everest mountain climber, what's your background before that? Because that's pretty incredible by itself. We can end the show right now. We'd be good. Uh,
Thank you.
but give me a little bit about what besides what drives you. We know what drives you now. Where did you come from?
Okay. So yeah, I started my career very long time ago in 1999 as in computer engineering intern in startup, and half of my career, which is long, very long, was around engineering. So I was in a few startups. One of them was acquired by Cisco in 2003, and then I relocated to San Francisco with my family. and become a bigger manager, but still engineering manager. I spent time in amazing company Cisco back then, and then came back to Israel through Intel to manage the connectivity team in Israel and in Portland. A very large team, a corporate, very organized. And then I wanted to switch to business, and I had the luck of and opportunity to move back to Cisco in another small startup that was acquired, and they looked for someone to help them scale inside Cisco. So I took the role as a general manager for a startup called Intocell. Still in connectivity, I was there for 5 years. Studies sales from I think best school in Cisco. Was traveling every week, different location in the world. And then the next chapter was to go back to a different, younger, smaller company called Wix, still known and very
Oh yeah.
like one of the successful company in Israel. And I was part of building and the B2B part of Wix. Very interesting journey to build a B2B organization inside a B2C. And then after achieving this challenge, I decided to go back to startup and joined Iola as the COO. And this is what I'm doing in the last year.
So you've got a lot of experience on taking small companies, getting acquired, and then scaling those inside those large companies.
Yes.
Do you feel that artificial intelligence today is giving small companies a leg up over these large companies because they can move so much faster? Because we all know this: large companies are cumbersome. They have a hard time being agile and moving quickly, mostly because of all the bureaucracy that's been established and the risk averseness and all the key things that we see in large companies. So, do you think that AI actually gives smaller companies a leg up over these large companies because they can move quick?
Um, I think that moving faster in small companies is depends on many factors. I can We can cover them. AI is only, or leveraging AI is only a mean how to implement that. But there are at least four major things that I think are you can find them with or without AI. It's the culture, the spirit, the talent in the team. So everyone, if you come to this office every morning, you feel that everyone wake up always new idea, always the ambition to win or to make more money, but everyone are coming with like super energized. And because it's small company, if you are not there immediately, everyone feel that you are
Oh yeah, yeah.
right. So this spirit, if I need to bring an investor, I am telling him to come here, because after 1 hour he understand what's different between this company, a small company, to a larger enterprise. It's addicted. So the culture, the spirit, the talent, and then the lack of formalities. You touched it. The lack of formalities, or the time to take decision, is like minutes or hours. It's across the board. It's in proposal to customers. It's on decisions to on roadmap. It's on priorities. Um, and it's for the good and for the bad. Sometimes
Right.
you take
Yeah.
the wrong decisions, and then you fix quickly, which is great. So that's the second, I would say, factor. So we spoke about culture, then lack of formalities. You have very light processes. You still have your, like, I'm dealing with building processes, but not for the sake of processes, but in order to reduce to reduce mistakes. Or some what nice is to bring some enterprise veterans, larger enterprise veterans that already did the scales, so they know how to build production, for example. So you don't need to invent the wheel and in places that you shouldn't. Okay. The third one is product roadmap and releasing a solution quickly for customers and get feedback quickly and and get feedback and improve and change the roadmap. So you want to get maximum value from what you develop. You have limited capacity. You cannot just
Right. Yeah. You can't do everything. That's,
yeah, and
yeah.
you cannot throw away just a task. It's a waste for a startup. If you have 5 developers, you want them to work on the really important stuff. That
Important things.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's and the last one is really customer minded. So every developer know exactly that the piece of code that he wrote, how it contributed to which customer, how it moved the needle, and that's sometimes in enterprises you are losing it. You are very far away from the
You're
end
far
customer.
away from the customer. Absolutely. I see this in droves, but I'm glad you brought that up. We still need process. That's one thing. And I love how you described it because no one's described it the way you just did, which is I need process to help me eliminate errors,
Exactly,
right?
eliminate errors.
Yeah,
I
and eliminate, things that are going to be thrown away. I think that's beautiful because I think we've lost our way in big corporations. We have process because, well, we're supposed to have process, right? No one
exactly.
can tell you why this process exists. It's just, well,
It's there.
we have to have it,
Yes,
right?
yes, and this is, by the way, why those giants are so giant, because they are not wasting time on building processes. They have the processes, but sometimes it's weights on their legs. I would say, listen, when I joined Iola, it was a product company. Today, it's a AI lab company. In 1 year, how much time it will take a corporate to move from a product to AI
Oh
lab?
gosh, it would take a decade.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to do a PLG model. I'm doing it in a month. In a month, I'm leveraging existing tools in the market. I will not invent them in the startup. We don't have the capacity to. So I will bring a superstar, and that's another thing that is important. I cannot compromise. I cannot bring mediocre engineers here just because I have headcount and I need someone. Then I will bring. No, I will. I prefer to bring less, maybe one engineer instead of three, to pay him more. But I know that he can do the job in 1 day, something that someone else will do in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And for a lot of reasons, because um, unless you've got an engineer that, likes to talk to themselves a lot, most engineers, if I have to take a piece of work and give it to 3 engineers, there's coordination work and there's integration work that has to happen. But with a single engineer, and the smaller your team, there's fewer communication breakdowns, fewer integration points. I like what you're saying here. One really good engineer is worth so much more than a group of engineers. Do
Yes.
you think that because of AI, that I can get more out of an individual software engineer now because the AI can do some of that grunt work that maybe a senior engineer would give to a junior engineer? Are you seeing that sort of thing happen? Are you seeing
No doubt.
productivity go up?
No doubt, no doubt. It's not only developer. I see that across professions, from finance, operation, marketing, sales. Like today, uh, you want to you want to build an offer. A customer asks you for a new, strange way to build an offer for him. In the past, okay, Excels and the Word file and the presentation and compare it to competition. Today, hey, you put inputs into one of the GPTs, you tell him exactly the prompt, the things
And
that
it's
are
done.
important for you, and then you just need to make sure that it makes sense. And something that maybe would take 2 days can be done with the minutes. A presentation to investors, of course, developers. There is no doubt, and in my in and by the way, we will speak about our product. So the advantage of our product that we take this AI and give it to every frontline employee, not only a developer, to make his life fun.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because you're right. It's more than just a software developer that could take advantage of it.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Absolutely. As a small company, what are some of the tips or tricks that you can use? Because speed is one thing for sure. As a small company, I'm faster, I'm more agile, I can be closer to the customer. But how do you compete with these big companies that have a lot of momentum? They have a brand in the marketplace. Um, no one ever gets fired for going with the big brand, right?
Yeah.
But if I go with a small company, there's a lot of risk involved. So, how, as a small company, do I compete in that marketplace? What are some of the tricks?
Um, I think that to find the market fit for a small company, and that is maybe in the beginning, maybe it's a niche for the large companies. So, for example, okay, there is a lot of language models in AI out there, right?
Right.
Take this language model for a specific company like aviation company or pharmaceutical. 50% of their language is not a language; it's jargon, right? It's something
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they
You're right.
speak only in their enterprise. Do you think that OpenAI will develop models specifically to a specific enterprise? Never, never.
Never. Never.
And the small company can find, like ours, okay, can find such niche which is big enough. It's
Ah,
big
right.
enough,
Yeah.
and
So find a niche,
and
right?
it
Don't go too broad. Find a very specific niche where you see a hole that a big company is not going to go after. Because, like at Intel, where I work, unless you have $1 billion idea, meaning $1 billion in 2 years, they won't even touch it.
exactly. And
Right. But
it's
I'm
too
happy to do
small.
100 million in 2 years. If
Yes,
I did 100 million, that'd be fun to
exactly.
be
Exactly. And then when you reach the 100 million, they will start noticing you, but it will be too late. In order to
because
get,
you're already ingrained. Yeah.
yes, and then they have the option to acquire you if they want.
It sounds like you're really good at getting acquired. That's what I've seen a lot. I mean, you've had several startups that have been acquired, which is pretty incredible in itself.
Yeah, I'm living in the startup nation. Everyone here are thinking about how to find new niche, new different way to do things. This is what I'm telling you. Every engineer, every person in the company, they wake up. How can I do more money? How can I be more innovative? What I'm missing? They never rest.
Yeah, no, that's that energy. I've been in 3 startups myself. That energy is so incredible. It wears you out, of course,
Yes,
but it doesn't drag on you like in big corporations where you're like, oh, I got 12 meetings today and nothing's going to be decided, and I'm just that's big
yes.
corporation.
You don't hear that here. The opposite, yes, the opposite is that they need to be resilient for change. Often changes. It's a different. Not everyone are like. Not everyone are
Can
ready.
handle startups. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, no,
yes.
no, I totally get it. All right, let's switch. Let's flip things a little bit.
Okay.
Now I'm in a large company. How do I compete with the small guys? Right? How do I? Because I have to be somewhat concerned, right, of a very disruptor coming in and disrupting my marketplace. right? Because that could be an issue, right? Especially with AI right now, because I've already seen small companies take down whole markets with 10 people. They can compete with an organization with 1,000 or 10,000
Yes,
because they're leveraging AI to do a lot of the mundane work, and their processes are light and fast, and they can even appear much larger than they are because they've got AI bots doing a lot of tedious work, right? So, as a
yes.
large corporation, how do I combat that? How do I survive?
Yeah, I think that I have two good examples. One of them is from Intel. I was working with Aisha Evans. I think that she created an organization that is has the sense of urgency. That she created a sense of urgency, meaning that hey, we have competition even inside Intel, and we need to make sure that we justify what we are why we are coming to work, and how can we do a big leap in order to overachieve internal competition and of course the external competitions that are doing great. So not underestimate the competition, and then bringing the right leadership was a key. The right leadership that works together very closely, has the right DNA. We invested a lot of what does it mean, the right DNA, how we continuously look for improvement in processes. So invested on that a lot of time and effort in terms of leadership. This is one example. I can go back to it in a second. The second question, the second very good example is Wix. Wix is like 6,000 employees and still working as startup. How? They split the company to smaller companies and guilds. The companies has everything that they all the roles that they need in order to run fast, not to be dependent on the other
On the others.
on
Oh,
the others.
interesting.
So you have head of company, you have head of product, you have your servers, your front end, your data, you have your own KPIs that being measured. So the CEO of Wix give the direction. The head of the company is managing a small company inside Wix, which is a few tens of employees. That's it. He can run as fast as possible. Of course, he has the vision of the CEO. The
Right,
CEO is
right.
involved, but the CEO will not take day-to-day decision for the company. Uh,
That's pushed down. So I like that. You push the decision making down
Down.
as close to the individual contributors as possible. That's what it
Yes,
sounds like, right?
yes. And then the challenge is how you orchestrate. How would you
Yeah, I
sync
was going to say, how do you, because now you've got what, 12 independent
company?
companies, right, that make their own decisions.
Yes.
How in the
Okay.
world do you coordinate that, right?
Okay.
That's got to be
So
difficult.
over the time of they develop amazing methodology. One of them is the guilds. It's the horizontal organizations that, for example, responsible for methodologies or for infrastructure that is cross company. That in order not to waste, so every company will choose their own CI/CD methodology. Then there is a group that define the methodology. Of course, the responsibility is to train the companies about what's coming new. They are responsible to also hire the right people, train them before they join the company, the companies. That's one way. Second way is that every quarter there is a week of presenting uh, what was achieved and what was the plan. All the employees are listening. It's amazing ceremony. Everyone stopped working and listening real time or on recorded. listening to the other, all the progress
All the
that
other organizations, yeah.
and the beginning and the planning between, if there is dependencies somehow between the companies. Of course there is. No, we are not in the lab. There is like a thema cross companies that the CEO decided in his strategy document what's give priority about what, meaning because if there are dependencies you need, okay, what comes before what, then there is this the same that the company prioritize topics that will define what comes before what. So I think that it's amazing. It's a big it's
That
a
that's a really cool model because
yes.
it's almost taking software engineering principles of decoupling and cohesion to the
Mhm.
organization, right? When you think about it, right, you don't want a lot of coupling between these companies,
Correct.
right? Because then that slows everything down. But they put centralized, I'm going to call them libraries, right? They put central libraries that everyone now can talk to, like HR, IT, a CI/CD pipeline. That those are common things that all the groups use. Instead of there being, how do I hand this over to this other group? That's all defined. I think this is pretty brilliant, and they are using. I mean, us. I'm a software engineer as well, just like you. You learned about cohesion. You learned about coupling. You learned about chain of command. All those sorts of things. Sounds like they did that to their organization, which is brilliant.
And it's amazing that it support an organization when it was 400 employees and when it's 600 6,000 employees, the same. And I would tell you if
Do you think
when
it could scale up to 60,000, 100,000 employees?
of course it will need some modifications, but I think
But
the
the concept,
general, the concept will work, right? The
yeah.
concept will work. And of course when they were 400, so every week management could meet and go over all the tasks and dependencies is much easier
Yes.
than doing it with 6,000. So things are changing, and they are, and you are always need to check yourself. You cannot assume that it is working, right? You need to check and to modify continuously. But I really like it, and I think that when my current startup will grow to hundreds of employees, I think that's the right model. I will
That's the
also.
model that you're going to look at doing. All right. So in the last couple minutes here, let's talk a lot about the company that you're with right now, because you're with a small company targeting custom AI for organizations. It sounds like you said at the beginning, our goal is to get AI into everyone's hands inside the
Hmm.
company.
Hmm.
Um, does in this model that you guys are talking about, does your AI understand your organization? Is that the idea that it's that we're not just doing a public Gen AI where, who knows where my data is going? Is this more like a private Gen AI, GPT that knows me, that knows my organization? Is that the concept?
I will explain it more accurately. So first of all, we believe that our kids will not type anything; they will just speak to the machines. They will speak to the computers. They will speak to the iPhone or iWatch or
Hey, just
whatever.
like in Star Trek, right?
Yes. So and we see the trends around using voice AI all over the world. Um, um, Now enterprises has different challenges than consumers. They have different languages and accents, very different dialects, background noise, and they have also the jargon, the words we speak. The 50% of the word will be the company language. Um,
Right. Yeah.
yes, so if you put there like Alexa or any other tools that we know with voice, Siri, it will just recognize 50% of the words, so it will not work. If there will be noise, complete. If I will speak with my broken English, they will not understand it. And then employees will never use it. So what we did, the magic, is that we learned the jargon of the company very easily. You don't need to run models for months or years, or believe me, my expense on the cloud is not too big.
That's good.
So we can build almost real time a model for a specific flow in at the enterprise. It can be aviation, automation, pharma, retail, any. We don't care. You just give me your jargon as a list or as a PDF. I will scan your document and will create a model for you. And then we will integrate with your existing application. Let's assume your CRM. I'm a seller in enterprise, and I'm using one of the CRM. Instead of typing during the call or after the call, I will speak, and all the fields will be automatically filled with the right values. I don't need to speak with a structural
Right.
conversation.
Yeah. You don't need to know all the field names or anything
No,
like
no,
that.
just
Yeah.
speak. And I can speak in Hebrew, by the way, and the data will be captured in English because my headquarters
That's
is in
awesome.
San Francisco. And what we figure out that frontline employees prefer to speak in their native language instead of writing with mistakes. And
Of course.
So we are serving people in supermarkets or on the production floor, assembly lines, and they don't want to go back to papers and pens, and they don't want to go back and type. They want to speak natively, and that's what we are doing. And that's
That is super cool. It's changing the way that we interface with computers.
yes,
And I think what you guys have here is kind of the foundation to fundamental change we'll see in in the way in that human computer interaction. Um, I think gone are the days of clicking on websites.
yes,
I hope because I love what you're saying here. I just want to talk to the computer and have it know what to do next. So
you got it. That's it.
no,
That's
that's awesome.
and
So hey,
what I'm feeling is that 2 years ago I would need to convince someone that that's the path. Today, they are
oh,
like
I don't think that's the case anymore.
not the case anymore.
Yeah, no. So it sounds like you're hitting the market just right. So if they want to find out more about your product or you, where do they go, Alon?
Iola.ai. Iola.
Iola.ai. All
That's it.
right. That's it. That's simple.
And they
Hey,
can put me also
Alon,
on LinkedIn.
it's been great having you on the show. And again, I can't believe you're the first Everest climber I've had on my show. So there's a first. I think that's awesome. I can't wait to see the pictures from that. And then my audience, you need to go check out the website embracingdigital.org to see those great pictures. Alon, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Thank you for listening to Embracing Digital Transformation today. If you enjoyed our podcast, give it 5 stars on your favorite podcasting site or YouTube channel. You can find out more information about Embracing Digital Transformation at embracingdigital.org. Until next time, go out and embrace the digital revolution.